Bioshock 2. This game got released in 2012 and the second of the Bioshock series. It's also the second game set in Rapture. And I'll admit, I was a little surprised when I played this. I was playing a Big Daddy. An actual Big Daddy, not a quote pseudo Big Daddy. Uh, you know, this is also one where your guide is more helpful in the game. I mean, yeah, you'll eventually have to fight him, but he wasn't trying to, he wasn't using you to take control. Well, he was trying to help you. And this is also a bit of the end of the whole Rapture part of this series, except anything else is done as DLC, which is separate from the main game. But yes, you play as, pretty much for the majority of this game, as Project Alpha. Or no, Project Delta. A Big Daddy, one of the originals, so to speak. And during this game, you're going to have to make some moral choices. I think there are like three choices of if you should wipe out, kill a character or not. Where you're given the option, so to speak. Your only real big nasty fights, I think, in this game are when little sisters are involved, and maybe the alpha versions of Big Daddy. Yep, big sisters. That's a new thing. Now, this game opens literally with you playing Delta around the time of the 1958 New Year's Eve party. This is also when the Civil War in Rapture started. You are Big Daddy. You are protecting a little girl named Eleanor. And Miss Sophia Lamb, who is actually Eleanor's mother, which means that well, maybe Eleanor was a prototype for the Little Sisters, or was one of the Little Sisters, but that's a different case altogether. She was like a special case, according to Sophia Lamb. And in fact, she has the Delta shoot himself. This would essentially mean he's dead. Except for some reason, the revitalization, the Vita Chambers, somehow were able to get his DNA together to, quote, revive him 10 years later. This is then you are in the events after the events in the first game. Your task is simple. You are to rescue Eleanor. Because these prototype Big Daddies, they are bonded with a little sister. Well, the type that Delta is. And if the little sister dies, the Big Daddy is supposed to die. Because they sort of go mad when their little sister is dead. Their specific little sister. That's why they were also stopped and they switched to the Big Daddies we saw in the first game. But now, Delta has been revived for a new purpose. He is supposed to rescue Eleanor. And as he is going through things, he meets people who can help guide him. First off, you run across Dr. Tenenbaum, who she's come back because little girls on the surface are being abducted. And you must find and being turned into new little sisters. So, as a big daddy, well, she would like you to help find and rescue them as well as stop Sophia Lamb, who is the one behind it all. With this, she also offers you the aid of Sinclair, who could be a bit dubious, but he's willing to help you. And actually, some of his reactions to your choices surprises. You know, like if I had been you, I would have done it. But hey, you do you, boy. I like that. He's got that nice, pleasant Southern drawl, on him. Pleasant, regardless of any atrocities he committed in the past. But we also learn some things as we're going through Rapture. I mean, we learn why things are the way they are. You see, when we learn a little bit more about the structure and also how Sophia Lamb became to be the force she is. She saw the ways to, quote, undermine what Ryan was trying to do and exploited them. Like a typical business person or typical. But she also turned splicers that remained in Rapture and other people into devoted followers in an almost cult-like thing. Some followers are more zealot than others, so they are going to be stopping you on Sophia's orders. The splicers. Now, of course, because you're a big daddy, you're also being charged with, quote, rescuing little sisters. Which means you have to fight other big daddies and then, quote, adopt a little sister. A nice new mechanic. Because again, you can rescue or harvest them, but in the meantime, when you can adopt a little sister, you can either take them back to event right away and free them, or you can guard them as they harvest Adam. They can harvest twice, and of course you get the benefit of getting the Adam to boost your own abilities. You also pick up some neat new weapons that weren't, I think, in the first one. I mean, a spear gun with the Big Daddy. Hit the right enemy with that, boom. So it gains some new abilities and tactics as you learn. The camera, again, is a feature, but works a little differently and allows you to get skills, say, by monitoring or learn some things about monitoring certain villains if you activate it while you're fighting them. And of course, in the course of this game, you're going to run across individuals in each section. Each section is self-contained. You're never going to go back to a section. I don't know if you can in the first one, but never tried. But as you're working through this game, you're meeting certain individuals. You meet a singer who's no longer singing, but she's a follower of Lamb. Each one of these people will have some way to that will allow you to progress to where Sophia is and Eleanor. With, of course, when you finally find her and fight the way all the way to her, she gives you she's not going to fight you. She's going to accept your fate, whatever you decide it to be. She's expecting one thing. This is your first moral choice. If you choose to save her, if you choose to spare her, she sends you something later to help you. If you kill her, well, she doesn't send you anything. Obviously. See, in my playthrough, I chose to spare her, which made her think, that's not what a monster would do. You're thinking. You're a man. Makes her rethink what her thoughts are when it comes to Sophia. Which means she's not that far indoctrinated in a cult. You also then go to the next section, of course, which is controlled by a man turned mad priest, and of course he takes more drastic actions. You're not going to reason with him. You're going to have to find him and, find where to restore power and all that, or restore the pumps. And this is another neat aspect of the game, too. I have to give it that. You have underwater sections. Big daddies can wander underwater. Humans can't, because kill us. And another thing is, of course, the big sisters. If you go through an area and rescue every little, take care of the little sisters in that area, a big sister shows up, and that's a fight that is nasty. While being similar to Big Daddies, this is like a little sister grown up. And she has nasty abilities. It's worth it, though. You get Adam for defeating them, just like you do for rescuing or harvesting the girls. You also can find the slugs that generate Adam while you're underwater, so that's another little boost to your Adam currency. Also, they made hacking in this game a little bit easier. Instead of a puzzle which could automatically be set up to defeat you right away, and you don't find it out until it's too late, this time they have the whole bouncing needle thing. You must stop it in the certain zones to, quote. So that's a little bit better, in my opinion. But after you take care of the Mad Priest, you enter the next section, which has a rather questionable journalist who wants you to help him out so he'll allow you to continue. He's not too thrilled the little sisters are starting up because apparently when you harvest Adam, you also gain access to memories. And this is in part where we learn about Delta's origins. See, when Rapture was built, after Rapture was built, a person in a diving suit managed to stumble across the city. And as things play out, he is also the biological father of Eleanor. And this is what we learn when we're dealing with you know, the news, the reporter. Of course, once we find this out and all that, then Sophia Lamb says, yes, there is some truth in all that, except you don't know who's the one who sort of sold you out to become Project Delta. It was him. So I will give you, since you are making some progress here, and I should reward you for finding the truth, you may kill him. Because I already knew what he was up to, which scares the reporter. Again, you can choose to off him or spare him. I didn't notice any benefits to sparing him, but I just continued the game. And also during this whole traveling through, you come across diaries and all that of people who lived in Rapture, but of another person too. A man who came to Rapture to find his abducted daughter. Which is another thing that you're learning about. Which kind of shows how despicable Sophia Lamb can be. You're also finding out about her ultimate plan for Eleanor. She is trying to create a savior for Rapture by taking the minds of all the great people in Rapture and basically merging them into one consciousness. One of the executives was the test model of it. And as you get closer to Sophia, you're going to have to face him. Except he's turned into some nasty creature living in a tank and completely and utterly nuts. And you have to beat him or get something from him. Now, he has pre-recorded things because he knows he's going to be losing it. And when you finally, get what you need from him and basically defeat him, you do get an option if you want to kill him or not. And to be honest, I did. It was his request before he totally lost it. I mean, he puts it in the recordings. Again, it's a moral decision. You choose what you do to these characters. To Gil, the executive, to the reporter who I can't remember the name of, and to the singer. I think her name was Gloria. These three individuals, you get to make moral decisions. Do you spare her? Or kill her? Do you kill him because of what he ended up doing to you, or do you forgive him and let him live? Do you put a monstrosity out of its misery because it is clinically insane? When, before it went insane, he knew it was going insane and asked for you to do that? Or do you spare him? You have to do what you morally think is right. Or if you want to be a complete and utter bastard, what you morally think is wrong. These are morally tough decisions. And the only outcome you see is towards the end, because once you get past all them and make it into Eleanor's inner sanctum, well, Sophia's inner sanctum, and find Eleanor, just as you're about to approach her, this is where Sophia has realized that there's one thing she didn't take into account, and that's the fact that the Big Daddy is bonded to her. until she dies. Well, Sophia is enough to suffocate her daughter to the point where she's almost dead, weakening the Big Daddy and, quote, thinking she severed the connection. Then, of course, has the captured Big Delta restrained. This is when we find out the true extent of things. Eleanor knew the truth about the Big Daddy, about Delta. And so she was working behind her mother's back to get stuff together to have Delta revitalized in the Vita Chambers. And then heading out to having the little sisters, help him out. In fact, while you're restrained, you are given the ability to take control of a little sister. Little sisters can go around the place completely ignored. And you see the world through the eyes of a little sister. Until you are interacting with something and the real world comes through. You see a little sister, and the world is so much different through their eyes. They see the world through, I want to say rose-tinted glasses, but no. This is beyond. It's like they only see the world as a pretty place. And of course, if you see a dead body, it looks like there's angels. So as you are controlling the little sister, you are helping get all the stuff together to have Eleanor become a big sister. To fight, to escape, and help others, help any of the little sisters left behind escape, and all that. As well as Delta. And of course, just to even get to this part, you are forced then to fight Sinclair, who has been captured and turned into an alpha. And all this after, I don't remember that's before or after this. Of course, once you're all free, it's time to escape. Which means getting to the escape craft, getting it powered up, getting it free. Oh, wait. Just as you get everything going, Eleanor takes it. Or not Eleanor, Sophia takes it. And so you have to do things to unblock it and catch up. And of course, because of your choices in the game, saving saving the little sisters, who you spare probably has a factor into it or not. Eleanor chooses whether she will kill her mother or save her. They return to the surface. Eleanor keeps the memories of Delta as Delta dies. And of course, depending on your decisions, you either unleash a nasty force upon the world or you successfully saved her and made her a better person. You know, this... Oh no, one moment. Sorry about that. Anyhow, yes, you either have unleashed a force on the world and made a better person, and Delta finally gets their eternal rest. This is. There's a little sadness in this story, but it's a touching story. Makes for a good game, and the fact that you're now playing as a big daddy and gaining all these skills with Adam and all that. And the return to, of course, Rapture. But I do think that when you see the world through the little sister's point of view, that is much creepier than what you're dealing with in that world. But that is the game. It's a good game. It's definitely worth a play. Multiple, maybe. It's definitely experience too. So please, I invite you to check it out and see what the world of Rapture is like. And that's all I'm going to say about this game this time around. So take care, all, and have fun. Bye.